So she's petrifying pretty boys.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. That's... okay.
Mm-hmm.
A little creepy.
A little creepy. It gets a little creepier when you learn more about her.
Oh, goody. I'm excited.
Yep, so is she. So is she.
Ugh, what did I just step in? Ew, it's all wet. Ugh. Why can I slip slide all over the place by these statues?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, I don't think they've said her name yet, so I'm not going to say it yet either.
Oh,
and you'll see it, and you'll be like, I don't understand. What's significant about this? And then I'll explain it.
Let me guess. It's the lady from BOF1.
No.
Okay.
No relation to BOF1.
Okay.
You were thinking the snake lady?
Yeah.
No, she doesn't come until later.
Okay. I was also thinking kind of the whole snake and Gorgon thing.
That makes sense, yeah.
And the
but no, she doesn't have that ability. She's actually a party member.
Oh,
but
neat.
An optional one.
Oh yeah, you were talking about how there's a party member that completely negates the usefulness of one of the other party members.
That's the one.
Oh. Hey, I made it to the end game of the last game, so I'm super swole.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. But then she
you guys
gets
are
a
going
little
on
less
your
swole.
adventure now. That's adorable. Let me join you and completely trounce everything we fight.
Oh yeah. Well, let's put it this way. If you get her immediately when you're able to, you're probably going to be about level 20. She starts at level 35.
Okay.
And then the next level, she gets one of the most powerful spells in the game. You could beat this game at about level 40 if you really want to.
Oh, it's one of these.
Yeah. So this dungeon,
puzzles.
Yeah. Well, this one's not too bad. You can actually tell exactly where it's going to go if you just look at it.
Yeah.
But as you can tell from the timestamp, this dungeon's really long. Like, I took a long time to beat it just because there's so much to do.
Well, there's something fun about dungeons like that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think this is the first dungeon where I actually legitimately ran out of resources. And I don't think I have again in the entire playthrough so far. I probably will in the final dungeon, but that's just because it's ridiculously long.
Yeah. Well, old JRPGs and survival horror games really make you worry about resource management.
Yeah.
Ooh.
This is the only girl statue. She looks a lot like...
then.
She looks a lot like someone we've seen before. Do you know who that would be?
Your mom.
We haven't seen my mom yet.
Well, assuming the big dragon isn't your mom.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're talking about... Yeah, okay. No, she doesn't look like the big dragon.
Your sister.
We've seen our sister, but we haven't seen our sister as an adult.
Oh, that's true.
Or have we? Dun dun dun.
Oh, is it the thief?
I don't know, maybe.
Like, haha, you fucked up, you bitch.
But the answer to the question of who that is, she looks an awful lot like the shaman we got.
Oh.
It's another one. It's the water elemental one.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Neato Toledo.
The thing about the shamans in this game is that they're spread apart like ridiculously stupidly. Because you get the one shaman, and then this dungeon, which is like the dungeon immediately following that event, you can get this shaman, and then you keep these two until like 2/3 of the way through the game, and then you can get the wind shaman. And then after that, you can get the I can't remember if you can get the earth shaman immediately or how long it takes, but you either get the holy shaman or the earth shaman next, and then you get the devil shaman last, and the devil shaman's in one part of the final dungeon.
So there's only 4 shamans?
No, there's 6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you got the 4 elements, and then you got holy and devil.
Okay.
Yep.
That's one next door.
Na.
Spooky ghost people.
So spoopy. Mm-hmm.
Somebody call the Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid no ghost. Especially not a ghost you can stab.
Yeah. My brother and I always like to assume the M in M mummy was my. It's my mummy.
It's my mummy. It's a
It's
magic
probably
mummy.
more like magic, but whatever.
Yeah, because they got a little wand in their stupid hat.
Yep. Oh, that's right. I do not make this mistake. I think. Wait. Oh shit, okay, yeah, this wasn't the spot. There's a spot in this place where you can just walk off the tower.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was trying to remember whether that was it or not, and it's not, obviously.
So if you walk off the tower, does it just restart the whole dungeon?
Pretty much.
That's lame.
I mean, anything you got in it, you keep, but yeah.
That's still really lame.
Yeah. Like, this is actually a tower where you want to keep Nina at the head of your party. I'm not sure why I haven't been. I guess it's because I just haven't bothered to switch. But Nina's overworld ability, which you almost never see, is if you fall in a pit, she will take you back out and put you where you were before.
Oh, that's useful.
Yeah.
She's like a Lakitu.
Yeah, something like that. Actually, very much like that.
I'm just picturing Rand in a go-kart.
That would be amazing. I mean, Donkey Kong and Bowser do it, so why not Rand?
Yeah. Why can't every franchise have a karting game?
They fucking should. Breath of Fire go-kart. Or at the very least, like, Capcom All-Stars go-kart.
I just remembered when Nintendo came out with its Switch and it announced like all the companies it's working with.
Yeah.
On the list was FromSoft. So somebody drew a little a Black Knight from Dark Souls in a Mario go-kart with the balloons around it.
That is amazing.
I would love that so much.
Oh, that would be glorious.
I want Kart Souls.
Yeah. It would be the hardest kart game ever. Because if you fall off the edge, you just die.
You fall off the edge and the you died comes up.
Yeah.
Have to drive past the next bonfire.
Yeah, exactly. It's perfect.
Boss cart shows up. There's one balloon specifically in the back. You have to circle straight around.
Heck yeah. This sounds like a good game.
Yeah.
I'm sure nobody would ever be frustrated with it.
No, not at all. No, the tight controls and measured combat of a kart game. Perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh my god.
I made the mistake of putting my headphones back on.
Like, as horrible as that would be, I would kind of like to play it.
There's a whole bunch of franchises I would love to see with a kart racing minigame.
Yeah.
Like, I'm honestly shocked there isn't a Final Fantasy kart racer.
Yeah. I mean, there's a Final Fantasy fighting game. Why,
there's a Final Fantasy rhythm game.
That's true. There's fucking
two of
Chocobo's
each.
Dungeon. Yeah.
There's a Chocobo kart racing game.
Yep, that's true. So maybe that sort of counts.
I guess.
But you don't have, like, Terra and Squall running around in carts.
I want Red 13 in a go-kart.
Oh, that would be amazing. They don't do enough with Red 13.
No, they don't. It only disappoints me.
Yeah, it might just be the furry in us talking,
Yeah.
but I always thought he was just cool.
Yeah, he's a cool character. Like, I really dig how he tries to come off as, like, the wise sage character.
Yeah.
Then when they get to his village...
But then they're like, he's an adolescent, dude.
Yeah, he's like their equivalent of 14. And it's only when that comes out does that start to show.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he's been playing it up really solid up until that moment.
Mm-hmm. And then he just kind of... Okay, well...
Grandpa! You're not supposed to tell them that! They thought I was a cool guy!
Yep.
No, he ignores the fact that he's still like 120-something years old.
Yeah.
And he would still have all the wisdom, it's just his body is adolescent.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
I'm looking forward to how they do that in the remake.
Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic about that remake. Like, because there's a lot of cool stuff they can do with it. And I just wonder if they're going to.
Yeah, like, there's a lot of really interesting little moments in 7. 7 isn't my favorite, and the older I get, the less enamored I am with 7's story.
Yeah, same.
But there's a lot of little, like, weird moments.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Honeybee Inn, the squat thrusting contest.
Yeah.
Being able to take anyone on a date in the Golden Saucer.
Yeah, that's real interesting. And I wonder if they're going to do something different with Eris, too.
Yeah.
Because, like, there's so much in that game. It's actually a lot like this game, like Breath of Fire 2, in the fact that there seems to be more that they wanted to do but just wound up not doing. And I'd like to see them elucidate on that.
Yeah. Yeah, because there was a lot that felt incomplete with Aerith and her storyline.
Mm-hmm, exactly. Well, everything just kind of immediately shuts off. There's no story reason for her to die like that. It's just, it kind of comes out of nowhere. It's not like she's doing a noble sacrifice or anything, because she wanted to live. She wasn't, like, trying to go out of her way to die or anything like that. It just suddenly happened because Sephiroth thought she was inconvenient. Which, I mean, is interesting in itself, but, like, it makes for a strange narrative decision because it just suddenly cuts off all potential for storytelling with her.
See, I actually really like that.
Yeah, and I know that's kind of your thing. I don't know, it's just kind of weird to me.
Yeah, I can see why it comes off as not great, or there's a lot of missed potential and stuff.
Yeah, I'm not even saying it's bad, it's just there's more they could do with her.
Yeah.
And, like, even after she dies, there's more that they could do with her.
Yeah, and to an extent, I do agree with that. See, here's my thought on character deaths.
Mm-hmm.
As long as it matches the tone of the overall narrative,
Yeah.
I like them to come out of left field.
Okay.
Like, the dramatic heroic sacrifice is always good.
Yeah.
It plays into the whole pathos of the hero iconography to just like, no, this is something I have to do. No, I'll give up everything for the sake of the better of the group. Blah, 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 blah. But for a non-heroic death, for it to come out of left field, for it to be this wake-up call.
Yeah.
Just like, yeah, you can really ham-fist this, and it can turn out to be this like really awkward way of raising the stakes.
Yeah.
It could also be a really powerful moment.
So the question is, does Final Fantasy VII have that build-up?
There is something of a build-up to her death. Like, the second she leaves the party to go pray,
Right.
like, you immediately know something is up, even if you don't know she's gonna die.
Yeah, yeah.
And
but
then
I mean,
you have
characters
that...
leave the party all the time, but I'm talking about, like, as far as the tone and stuff goes, because you were talking about how if it fits the tone and whatnot, then it works. But Final Fantasy VII has this really weird... Most Final Fantasies have this really weird tonal shift to them, where, like, sometimes it's really dark, and then sometimes they just do goofy shit, like fucking Honeybee, whatever, the Honeybee thing. It comes almost directly before Biggs, Wedge, and Jesse all die on this tower.
Yeah,
Like,
and
you see what I'm saying?
yeah, that's why I always kind of give Final Fantasies a pass on that.
Mm-hmm.
Because they have that established shift where they'll go back and forth, like everyone's having fun, and then oh shit moments.
Yeah, well, and then Eris dies, and then you go snowboarding.
No, you go snowboarding before.
No, you don't. I'm pretty sure. Like, you go to the ancient city, which is right after the fossil area. And then that's where Eris dies. And then past the ancient city is the all the snow and stuff.
I'm looking this up right now because I thought that was directly before.
You go ahead and do that.
I don't trust myself after the last time.
Yep. I got a silk glove.
Oh.
And for some reason I'm not checking people's shields, even though I totally should.
Okay.
Yep.
Let's see here. The walkthrough.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm pretty confident that I'm right. Played that game many times.
Temple of the Ancient.
But hey, if I'm not, I'll just claim it's Berenstain Pears.
You're right.
Okay, there we go.
Yep, I had it backwards. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, that feels really weird. Like, one of the most dramatic moments in the entire game is followed by fucking snowboarding.
Well, that's always why I say I will be utterly shocked if they keep the snowboarding in the remake.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of the other mini games I can see them keeping, but the snowboarding just comes out of fucking left field.
Right. Like, I could see them keeping it if they, if you play it in the flying saucer, in the gold saucer.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because that's, like, the right place for it. But, but yeah, it's tonally very bizarre.
Yeah, a lot of Final Fantasy VII is tonally bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the inconsistency with the tone is part of why I give it a pass in that regard.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of established that.
It's already bad, so you're not going to say that they made a mistake, because they've already made the mistake.
Yeah. And you also have to think of their target audience. Like,
that's true.
To 15, 16-year-olds, they're not going to worry too much about that.
Yeah, that is true. And they have short attention spans and all that, so, like, tonal shifts aren't going to affect them nearly as much.
Yeah, and there's also the idea that after this moment, people are going to be like, okay, I need to step away from this for a minute.
That's also possible, yeah.
See, that's always the weird thing about tone in video game, because unless you're going for a consistent tone all the way through, you have to kind of think about when people are going to put it down and when they're going to come back to it.
Yeah.
And try and predict your shifts by these breaks.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like,
it's not like a movie where you expect the audience to sit through it in one sitting.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why whenever I think of, like, weird character deaths and bad tonal shifts, I forget the name of the movie. It's a bad Adam Sandler comedy.
Oh.
Where, yeah, already you can see where this is going.
Uh-huh.
Where it's like he goes to prison and Chris Rock is in the movie, and it's this goofy, whimsical comedy, and then, like, at one random point in the movie, Chris Rock gets blown up by a bomb, and it just comes out of fucking left field. It's like, what the fuck was that?
Holy shit.
Like,
I don't think I've seen it, but I haven't seen a whole lot of Adam Sandler movies all the way through.
Yeah, that was one where I was still giving Adam Sandler a chance, but just like, where did this come from?
Yeah.
Did this wacky comedy really need the stakes raised like this?
Yeah, what the fuck?
What the fuck is this shit?
That is really strange.
Yeah.
Yeah, and movies, it's a lot less forgivable because they're done in such a short period of time. Yeah,
you're expected to, like I said, go through the whole movie in a single sitting.
Right.
So the people making the movie have a lot more control over the tone, to the point where I'd say out of anything, movies have the most control over the audience's consumption.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, I'd be inclined to agree with that.
Any kind of written work, even a short story, the audience has a lot of control over their own consumption of the media. Video games especially, like, with rare exceptions, you have to expect the audience to consume in multiple sittings.
Right, yeah.
And television
unless you're
shows,
doing something like Portal or whatever.
Yeah. Well, even Portal, a lot of people will do in multiple sittings just because they'll hit a puzzle they'll get frustrated with.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, the only thing I can think of where you expect them to do it in a single sitting are crazy short things, like the Pretentious game.
Yeah, or roguelikes.
Yeah.
Because that's built in.
Yeah.
But
even then, roguelikes aren't really going to carry much of a narrative by their nature.
Right, that is true.
So it's more like the narrative stuff. Like, you either have a very, very short experience, or you expect the person to consume it in multiple sittings.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, you can get through Portal even on your first run within 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
But some people aren't going to sit down for 2 or 3 hours to play a single video game.
Yep, that is true. Video games are typically made to be consumed in bite-sized chunks.
Yup.
And yeah, the whole Eris thing is a great point to stop.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, I need a drink.
Yeah, well, and I suppose someone could probably also justify it as, well, the darkest thing in the game just happened. Maybe we need a little lightheartedness just to get people back to the, to not being fucking miserable.
Yeah, that could also be a way of thinking of it. Like, there's a lot to break down with Final Fantasy, and I need to sit down and play through Final Fantasy VII again, just to get it all fresh in my head. Yeah,
I haven't played it in quite a while.
It's been at least 5 years for me since my last time
I'd say probably about the same for me. I haven't played a whole lot of the PlayStation and PlayStation 2 era Final Fantasies in recent years, except for FF12 very recently. But that's because I only played it once when it came out, and then I was like, this really isn't a good game. But I don't know, it's alright. It's not that bad of a game.
I feel like Final Fantasy XII and Final Fantasy XIII had good ideas buried under baffling decisions.
Yeah, that sounds about right. The weird thing is, I don't even hate Vaughn. Like, I did at first, because he was annoying, but then I realized when I played through this second time that he actually develops as a character and he matures. It's really strange, because I know the developers hated him because they were forced to put him in. But, like, they still did a decent job with him, oddly enough. He's boring, but so is everybody else in there except Balthier. Yeah,
which I think is kind of the problem with 12.
Yeah.
Is the characters aren't interesting, and a JRPG, that's a fatal flaw.
Oh yeah, well, especially a JRPG where you're expected to play about 100 hours if you're going to do, like, most of the side quests.
Yeah. Second, the first impressions on most characters in that game are fucking awful.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Balthier and Fran are the only ones where you get decent first impressions on them because they come swooping in to save the day.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Everyone else, like, right
Ash
from
is
the word
boring.
go, like, Ash, you get the first impression at her marriage, and then, like, you can kind of sympathize with her because immediately after there's the whole invasion sequence.
Yeah. Oh my god, my husband just got murdered.
Yeah, he took an arrow to the fucking neck right in front of me. That's fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
And Balsh you meet in prison after this buildup of him being, like, this horrible monster.
Yeah. And you sort of think you meet him at the beginning of the game when he betrays everybody and murders the character you were playing as.
Yeah.
But then there's Vaughn, who, like, pickpockets some asshole on the street. And then he runs around screaming about being a sky pirate someday, and it's like, okay, that's great.
Yeah, he just shows up and he's kind of a dick.
Mm-hmm. It's like, that's great, thanks. And then Penello's just one of those overbearing anime girls.
Yeah. Where it's
She's
like,
worthless.
I'm going to be a mom one day, but I haven't gotten pregnant yet, so you'll do for now.
That's pretty much exactly what it is. Yeah, Penello's, like, she doesn't advance as a character at all the entire game. I would call her probably the worst character in the game.
It's just... There were some really interesting ideas that got buried under executive dicking.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's probably why I find Vaughn and Penello so much of a disappointment, is because you start with this big, epic invasion sequence, and you get the stakes of this world, and you understand that these two warring countries are abusing this smaller country in between them, and all this, and then you cut to these two completely unrelated fuckers.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, why should we give a shit about either of them?
Yeah,
and that's
there
where
you go. That's how I figured it out.
Okay.
Like, I sort of knew that it existed, but I had to make sure.
Well...
But yeah, that's a pretty dick thing to do if Nina isn't at the head of your party.
Yeah!
But yeah, like, there's a lot of really interesting fucking lore in FF12, which is one of the reasons I gave it a second chance, was because I sort of remembered some of that vaguely. And then I realized, yeah, this is actually neat. Like, there's a lot of cool backstory to this. The problem is backstory doesn't make a good game.
No.
But there's enough other stuff in there that I would call it a decent game. Like, maybe not amazing or anything, but I would call it a decent game. Like, it's worth playing. One of the main problems with that game is that it's fucking slow.
Yeah.
And so, like, I wound up ripping an ISO from my own disc and playing it on a PS2 emulator. And I used the tab key to double the speed, and that helps a lot.
Yeah, I can imagine. Pacing is important.
Yeah.
Like, making sure your audience gets what they need in the time they need it. Because we live in a very fast-paced world these days. I know a lot of people say that, and it's kind of a buzzword. Yeah, marketing. But no, most people don't really have, like, days where they can just sit down and the entire day be dedicated to this.
Like, we're kind of forced to be workaholics.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we don't live.
Yeah.
Kind of a big thing. But yeah.
Need to make that money.
I know. I know it all too well.
Yeah. Oh, here we go again.
Yep.
She needs the pretty boy.
Oh, maybe not. I don't remember if that one is necessary. So here she is.
You brave boy.
Yeah. My name is Nimufu. So what do you think Nimufu means?
Look like Nymphet.
Yeah, Nympho is what it was originally supposed to be. That frog? If you play with me, I'll tell you.
You're a
good boy. I won't turn you into a frog. I'll make you my pet. Uh-oh.
Here, have this collar and this leash.
Yep, kind of.
Oh, you're not into that?
Is it because I'm a witch? Are you afraid of me? Oh, I understand.
Nobody ever likes me. Lady, it's not you. You're just not my type.
Then I'll kill you first, then play with you. Like I said, a lot of stuff got by the Nintendo censors in this game.
Yeah. I like it.
Me too.
It's always, like, kids aren't gonna grab that. They're not gonna figure out what's going on here, so it's fine.
I fucking didn't.
It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. Yep. Everything is okay. Everybody's
it's
like,
not like one of her attacks is she
Nimufu.
flashes her fucking tits at you or anything.
Yeah. I mean, that was Killer Instinct, but...
Oh, those finishers in Killer Instinct were so fucking weird.
They're silly. I liked them. Like, I think that's what finishing moves kind of should be. Like, I respect Mortal Kombat for its attention to detail, but, like, even earlier Mortal Kombats just had a bunch of silly finishers.
Yeah, a lot of modern Mortal Kombat gets me uncomfortable.
Yeah, same. Well, like, when you're pulling someone's intestines out with your mental abilities, it's like, that's just gross. Why are you doing that? That's not fun.
No, well, like, some of them, like, whatever the fucking psychic's name has the one where he pulls out the back of their rib cage and has them up like a marionette.
Takeda. Or, no, you're talking about Kenshi.
Yeah, Kenshi. It's like, okay, that one's kind of fun. That's like, okay, they're like a little puppet. That's neat. But like the Melina one where she just like guts them and is tearing them apart, it's just like...
It's like, okay, thanks.
Okay. So she's a monster, that's whatever. It's not even cool like the Bug Girl where she kisses you and just puts bugs in you and they all explode out. It's like, that's fucking cool.
Yeah, some of those are real neat, but like, there's a lot of stuff that's just, this is violence for violence's sake, and it's just kind of icky. Like, even just on a psychological level, it's like, people spend a lot of time doing this, and it's kind of disturbing.
Yeah. Yeah, to think that somebody's job was to very carefully animate this.
Yeah. Like, I appreciate their attention to detail and the artistry involved. It's just, it's a little weird.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, what am I judging? I'm a fucking furry.
Yeah. it's like, no kink shaming, but we are concerned.
Yeah. Well, I'm not even sure it's a kink thing. Like, it might be, but it seems like it's just a fascination with extreme violence.
Yeah.
Which I understand is Mortal Kombat's thing, kind of. But, like, it used to be funny and extreme. Like, so extreme it was funny.
Yeah.
Like, the fucking brutalities in Mortal Kombat 3, where they just, like, do a whole... It's like an ultra combo followed by the opponent exploding. It's like, that's just silly and fun.
There's also something disarming when, like, 8 rib cages comes out.
Yeah, multiple heads, rib cages, arms, legs. Yeah, it's silly and fun.
Yeah.
And, like, even the more serious stuff in Mortal Kombat 1 was still kind of silly. Just because of the way it looked and whatnot. But I don't know. That's just my own personal opinion. I'm sure some people will disagree with that, and that's fine.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of the difference between realistic violence and movie violence.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually a good way to put it. Mortal Kombat used to be movie violence, and a lot of fighting games do movie violence, like fighting games with finishers. But, like, Mortal Kombat X just kind of crossed that line.
Yeah, it got too real.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Doom, the new Doom, is full of movie violence.
Yes.
Like, it's so over the top, and there's also the disconnect where nothing you're fighting is human.
Yeah, that's also true.
Now, this is all in post, and I think you're stopping to figure that out. Oh, no. Could you just jump out the tower from that window place?
Yeah, I could. And I do later, but I wanted to get the shaman first.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yep, but look at my AP.
Yeah.
My resources are fucking drained. Of course, Cat's at max, but that's because Cat gets, like, very little AP.
Yeah.
What's funny is she actually learns the most powerful spells in the game early on. It's just she can't use them. So, like, either you have to level the shit out of her, or you have to complete most of the game and get the Devil Shaman, and then you can turn her into something that can actually cast spells.
That's silly. I like it.
Yeah, it really is.
I like games that kind of show you the end game stuff early on. It's like, this is what you're working towards.
Mm-hmm. We may have talked about this, but have you ever played a Lufia game?
No.
Okay. Lufia 1 actually has a really cool intro in that you play as characters who are level 60 to begin with. And you go through the final dungeon. And you have access to all the spells and everything like that. And you beat the bad guys. But then stuff happens, and 100 years later, your game actually starts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's a real interesting way to introduce everything and show you what can happen at the end. And the thing is, what's really cool about the way it's structured is that... like, the game isn't that great. I'll just say this right away. So don't think it's, like, totally worth playing, because it kind of isn't. But the cool thing about it is that you see that at the beginning, and you're level 60-something, and you got all this stuff. And you have, like, this zirconium sword and shit like that, and your characters are doing hundreds of damage. But then by the time you get to the final dungeon with your new characters, they're way better. Like, their equipment is better, and... like, I think they have all the same spells, but their levels are higher and everything like that. So your new characters have supplanted the older characters and surpassed them. And I think that makes it feel really good.
That's a hit and miss thing with me.
Oh, yeah?
Well, okay, so the thing that came to mind for me was Castlevania Symphony of the Night, because you start pretty tricked out in that.
Yeah.
And then as you progress, you do get stronger than that by the time you hit the end game, especially if you're going into the reverse castle.
Right.
That's really effective to me.
Mm-hmm.
The flip side of that is Dragon's Dogma, where you have this in medias res start, where you start as this rando whoever, and he's at level 20, and you have your party, and they're all at level 20, and then after the sequence, you start the game as your own created character at level 1.
Right.
The thing of it is, the scaling and power, you don't feel that in Dragon's Dogma. So, like, starting as a level 20 character doesn't feel any significantly different than a level 1 character.
Oh, okay. Well, it
And then
works
by the time
in
you hit the
Lufia.
end game, you're like level 40, and it's just like, this doesn't make any difference.
Yeah, okay.
This is the same sequence.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it does work in Lufia.
Okay.
Especially because you beat the bosses as the older people in the beginning of the game, but then when you go there the second time, you beat those bosses -1 because of plot reasons, and then all the bosses fuse,
Ooh.
and you fight the big bad.
Okay.
And it's way cooler. So, like, it makes you feel like I have surpassed these legendary heroes of yore. Which is really cool.
I'm
And
also
then,
guessing that the NPCs talk about the starting party characters.
Oh, yeah, definitely. They're like Maxim, Ceylon, Guy, and Artie were all these legendary heroes, and you actually get to meet one of them because he's an elf.
Mm.
And so 100 years later is like he's still alive. He's okay. Actually, you get to meet 2 of them, which is real interesting because one of the ones you meet is a human, and he was like 18 at the time that he beat the guys, and then 100 years later he's still alive. It just goes to show how strong he is. The problem is you meet him and then he immediately dies, and it's totally of old age. Like, he doesn't die for any good reason. He's been living this long, and then you come along and you get him all excited, and it's like, oh, we shouldn't have done that with a 118-year-old man.
Yeah. Yeah, holy shit, you were running dry on this
Oh
one.
yeah, totally. This does not happen again so far in my playthrough, and it probably won't. But yeah, like, and the cool thing is, I actually like feeling that in an RPG, because that just doesn't happen that much anymore. Like, RPGs used to be about resources.
Yeah.
And resource management, and now they're just basically like, can you beat these weird battles?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. That's really hard to balance.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, it used to be... Okay, I'm trying to find my words for this.
Yeah. Well, I think I know what you're getting at, but go ahead.
A lot of older games came in with the arcade mode in mind.
Yeah, that's true. That's why Nintendo Hard is a thing.
Yeah. And then that kind of became the industry standard, where it's like, okay, these games are supposed to be challenging, they're supposed to be really hard.
Yeah.
But that also makes them very frustrating and turned off a lot of people. So the more modern sentiment is, we have multiple different levels of difficulty, but the idea is everyone should be able to complete the game.
Yeah, accessibility.
Yeah. So one of the challenges of RPGs was, can you make sure you have all the things you need when you need them?
Right. Which, honestly, like, I don't know, maybe I'm a purist or something, but I think that's the reason to play RPGs. Like, I know story is important, and there's totally a reason to play RPGs for the story. It's just that, like, why aren't you just watching a 60-hour movie then? Like, a lot of people make that argument against RPGs, and for the most part, they're right, but only with modern RPGs, because the gameplay elements don't really matter that much anymore. It's just like, oh, I'm gonna see if I can be as clever as the developers were when I'm fighting these tricksy bosses. But like older RPGs, it's about strategy. Like, you're figuring out how you want to go into something and hoping you have the resources. Like, you plan ahead and you hope that you've planned enough. Like, you can level grind, but that's not the point of an RPG.
Yeah. See, my philosophy with RPGs, and I think this is probably going to be the last thing we said on this, because we're running out of time.
Yeah.
Is I feel like you should be able, if you're clever, to beat everything with the resources they give you.
Yeah, And most well-done RPGs are like that.
Like, if you have to, there's more resources you can buy or you can grind, but just fighting everything that comes along and just using what you pick up, you should be able to do it.
Yeah, and I think that's the difficulty level in RPGs like this. You can choose to grind and make it easy, but yeah. Anyway, so that's it for this episode. Bye.